everybody, this is Brian from ComicsVerse. I'm speaking today with James Tynion IV. If you've read a Batman comic in the last, 5 years, you've probably read something he's written. He's most notably done the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Batman crossover. He has done the new Detective Comics Rebirth book. And I want to actually start off by talking about something that you did for Boom Studios, which is a new book called The Backstagers. And I read about the concept, and I think it's great because as somebody who was both a theater kid in high school and somebody who loved comic books, it's awesome that you're doing something centered around that community.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was a theater kid growing up, and specifically I was a stage crew kid. And that definitely meant I didn't have, I was kind of I was the outcast. I was on the outcast side of my school, and even more so, I was a queer kid at an all-boys high school, an all-boys Catholic high school, and honestly, I thought that when I went to that school, I thought I would never really fit in. I thought that there would never really be a place for me in the school, and it was once I joined the stage crew, I found a bunch of people who felt like kind of just as disconnected from the rest of the school as I did, but they came together and they formed this real community, and that was really my family for all of high school. And so, the Backstagers is about a bunch of queer stage crew kids going on magical adventures in the backstage of their all-boys high school. I couldn't be happier. It's my first all-ages project.
I think that the Venn diagram of comic book fans and theater nerds is probably almost a circle. I mean, we got Hamilton shirts over here. It's crazy. Yeah. So what I thought was really interesting about the book is I feel like it's part of this resurgence of teen adventure comedies that we haven't really seen since the heyday of Archie. Was that something you were drawing inspiration from besides just your personal experiences?
I mean, I love Archie. Archie is amazing, and right now in particular, Archie is doing such incredible work. Like, the main book, Archie, is at the top of my pile every Wednesday it comes out. But honestly, the big thing for me is more looking at the rest of the Boombox line and seeing what people were able to do with the all ages spaces, because all ages comics, when I was just starting in the industry, it was really only licensed books. It was really only there was the Adventure Time comic, which is doing cool things, but it was really only adaptations of cartoons, and then there'd be occasional things like Bone, but there wasn't a whole line of books aimed to children that had the same vibrant personality as the books that were for adults. And the scary thing there is that if that continued, they would be the death of the industry, because it's a whole new generation where the kids aren't reading comics, and now we have kids comics really for every type of kid. And the one thing I saw that really wasn't there is there just wasn't a book that really showed all of the myriad different forms of young queer boys, and that's what I wanted to tackle with Backstagers, which we have a young trans man on the cast. Our main character is bisexual. One of our other leads is gay. There's only really one straight kid in the book, and that
the token straight kid.
Yeah, exactly. And he's he's also sort of the Squidward of the group. He's just like the one who's convinced they're gonna die on every mission. But honestly, it's this book is so special to me, and I couldn't be more thrilled that it's finally out there in the world and that people seem to be enjoying it.
And the first issue just came out, so people can pick it up very easily.
Yep, absolutely.
So speaking of books that have a large cast to them, you just started working on Detective Comics for DC. And this is the first time there's really been sort of a team Bat book. And I was curious as to how you picked which characters you wanted to be in the book. Was there a Bat draft? How did you determine what you were going to do?
Honestly, the biggest consideration when pulling the cast together was I wanted this book to be the most important book with each of these characters, which is why there are people, every day someone asks me why Damian isn't in the book, why Red Hood isn't in the book, why Nightwing isn't in the book. It's because those characters are in books all over the line, and I didn't want to be the third most important book that these characters were in. I want to be the first most important book. So that sort of realizing, but all of the wheels were in motion for Rebirth a while back, so I knew which characters that were going to have their own direction and their own series. So I knew that in terms of the Robins, I'd be able to take Tim Drake and put him front and center.
Right.
And then also I'd be able to take Batwoman and really tell a really big Batwoman story, which was really, really important to me because she's probably the biggest character who I haven't touched on much in the two Eternals and all of that. Right. And especially getting to explore her relationship with Bruce Wayne, Bruce Wayne, her cousin. It was something that, despite that being introduced sort of on the side in the comics a while back, it hasn't been fully explored. And I couldn't be, I'm really, really excited that there are big stories to come in that way.
That's exciting. Now, it seems like working on a bi-weekly schedule, it might affect the writing, but you've done a weekly book. Is a bi-weekly book like a cakewalk for you now, or is it?
I mean, the difference is when I was working on the weekly book, I was writing, I was only writing the equivalent of one book a month, and it was, and now, now I am writing 2 books a month for this. I'm not working with a whole group of writers on it. It's just me. So it is more work, but honestly, I like having that kind of control over my own story.
What do you think is the state of LGBTQ representation in comics? How do you think it's doing right now?
It's doing better than it ever has before, but it still has a ways to go. I mean, I think that there are more and more queer characters and more queer creators, and not just, queer isn't the niche anymore, and that's the amazing thing about right now. You have, frankly, you have me. I'm a openly queer creator, and I'm working on Detective Comics, and you have that happening at both Marvel and DC on major titles, openly queer creators working on the biggest books in the industry, and that matters. And then you also have this new wave of young queer creators coming in and doing kinds of comics that didn't even exist 10 years ago, and that's the amazing thing about the influx of, queer in the mainstream, which is that it's not forming a little strange enclave off in the corner. It is queer content is driving what the shape of the future of comics right now. So it's really, really exciting, and I think there are still ways to go in terms of queer representation in terms of the top line characters in DC in the DC universe. There still isn't the big queer superhero character that is I would love if Batwoman sort of rose to the ranks, but Batwoman's still not a Justice Leaguer. I hope she gets there. But that's what's coming. That's what's really important to me, and I hope we see more of it.
Okay, great. Well, this was something we did with Chris Claremont when we interviewed him a little while ago. We did some word association. So I want to do that with you, with your Batman characters real quick, that you're doing a detective. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Tim Drake.
The best.
Stephanie Brown.
God. I was about to spoil a thing, which is appropriate. So spoiler alert.
Cassandra Cain.
Best fighter in the damn universe.
Kate Kane.
The strongest woman in Gotham.
Clayface.
A really sad guy with a really good story.
I love that you're bringing him into the book. And finally, Bruce Wayne.
He's the goddamn Batman.
Perfect. All right, so do you have anything that you want to plug real quick before we wrap up?
I just hope everyone checks out the Backstagers, and there's really big, awesome stuff coming in Detective Comics, and The Wood still is coming out every month, and you should check it out. The year 3 is fucking amazing, and the work that is happening there, that Michael, my artist, is doing on that book is fucking phenomenal. Also, my other artist, Ryan Sion, Backstagers, is doing the best work of his career, and then we have Eddie Barrows and Alvaro Martinez doing killer work on Detective. So I am lucky beyond all hope.
All right, great. Thank you so much. This has been ComicsVerse coming to you from FlameCon. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment on all our YouTube videos. Check out this man's work. He's the best, just like Batman. Have a good one. Signing off.